Hi everyone, my name is Jenna and I'm going to be going over the effects of family poverty on the academic and behavioral outcomes of middle and high schoolers. A little introduction and background on my topic and article. There have been a lot of recent studies that found a current achievement gap for poverty stricken families due to stressors that the kids might experience at home or in their own communities that result from a lack of resources. And these children from those families were also found to experience higher rates of behavior problems and academic difficulties compared to their higher income counterparts. There also have been a lot of recent studies that have been looking into social support and how that can help moderate the impact of poverty on academic and behavioral outcomes. One of the key concepts that my article discusses is school climate, which is the extent of supportive relationships, emotional and physical safety, and shared goals for learning that a certain school might offer to their students. It has been hypothesized that a more positive school climate might be able to act as a protective factor for kids experiencing family poverty. So, the purpose of my study was to explore the mitigating effects of a positive school climate on poor academic and behavioral outcomes due to poverty. And my article hypothesized that better perceptions of one's school climate would help minimize the effects of family poverty on academics and behavior. Just a little bit of methodology on my article. This study used a sample size of 413 middle and high school students within a New York City school district. And those students were asked to complete the school success profile, which that is a study designed to measure risk and protective factors that would be associated with academic outcomes. The student population was mostly non Hispanic white, making up 86% of our study population, and 52% of our population were students that were enrolled in the free or reduced lunch program. Study also used a cross-sectional design in order to study these correlations. Our study looked at three predictor and control variables. One of them was family income, which was measured by whether or not a student received free or reduced lunch. Perceptions of school climate, which was measured through a 7 item scale, and social supports, which was measured across three variables: neighbor, family, and friend support. For both perceptions of school climate and social support, a higher score meant a more positive perception of school, um, or a more higher support system. The study also had two outcome variables: troubled avoidance behavior, which was measured by a composite scale of 11 items pertaining to avoidance of problem behaviors in school. Compared to our other two studies on the last slide, we actually would want to see a lower score for our students. And then we also measured grades, which were measured by a student's reports on their grade card from their last semester. So, some of the key findings from my study was that family poverty was found to have a negative effect on behavioral and academic outcomes, and better perceptions of school climate were indeed found to decrease the negative effects. And you can see that on our graph right there, that as perceptions of school climate get higher, our amount of trouble avoidance behavior also goes up, which means that our students were um, acting in a way that avoided troubled behavior. There was also found to be a more successful decrease among middle schoolers compared to high schoolers. So, just a few ways that this topic relates to class and this article specifically is how it emphasized the developmental effects of childhood adversities, specifically poverty as a form of neglect. And we learned a lot in class about how things that happen early in your childhood can follow you through middle, high school, and even after that. And you can really see those effects talked about in this article. Um, it shows effective examples of protective factors, and it highlights the importance of resilience, and it also emphasizes the importance of early intervention. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit more about how poverty affects educational outcomes in children.